Good morning and welcome back. Today, I need you to stop what you're doing and pay very close attention because what I'm about to share could genuinely change the direction of the next decade of your life. After more than 2 decades working with adults over 60, I've sat across from thousands of people in their 60 seconds, 70 seconds, and 80 seconds, and I've watched the same pattern repeat itself again and again. Not because these people were careless, not because they didn't care about their health, but because they were following habits they believed were completely normal. Habits that were quietly stealing their strength, their memory, their independence, and their quality of life. The most surprising part? Most of them had no idea they were doing anything wrong. A major study following more than 12,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 over a 10-year period found something remarkable. Participants who eliminated just a few specific daily habits were significantly less likely to experience physical decline, cognitive impairment, and loss of independence as they aged. And many of them didn't make those changes until after the age of 70. So if you're thinking it's too late to improve your health, it isn't. Before we begin, I want to tease something important. The number one habit on today's list is something millions of seniors do every single morning without even thinking about it. In fact, most people have done it for decades, and almost nobody realizes what it may be doing to their body over time. So stay with me until the end, because the final habit may surprise you more than anything else on this list. We're counting down from number 7 to number 1, starting with a habit that seems completely harmless. Number 7, eating 3 large meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's the pattern most of us grew up with. It's what our parents taught us, it's what many nutrition guides still recommend. And for younger adults, it may work perfectly well. But after age 65, the body begins processing food differently. Digestive efficiency declines, stomach acid production decreases, enzyme production slows, and large meals become much harder for the body to handle efficiently. What worked at 40 doesn't always work the same way at 70. And that's where many older adults begin noticing fatigue, bloating, and slower recovery, without realizing their meal pattern may be contributing. In the next section, I'll show you what researchers discovered when seniors changed the way they spaced their meals throughout the day, and why one 74-year-old woman said she felt like she had gotten 10 years of her life back. Think of your digestive system after 70 like a smaller engine. It doesn't need less fuel. It needs that fuel delivered in smaller, more frequent amounts, so it can actually use it efficiently. Researchers studying healthy aging found that older adults who shifted from 3 large meals to 4 or 5 smaller, nutrient-dense meals throughout the day experienced improvements in protein utilization and reductions in markers associated with chronic inflammation. And that matters because inflammation is one of the biggest drivers of physical decline as we age. I remember a woman named Margaret, 74 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. She came to me exhausted. Every large meal left her bloated and uncomfortable. She was convinced something serious was wrong. When I reviewed her daily routine, I discovered she was eating a very small breakfast and then one enormous dinner every evening. It's a pattern I see surprisingly often. The problem is that aging bodies don't process huge meals the same way younger bodies do. The digestive system works more slowly. Nutrient absorption becomes less efficient, and the body struggles to handle large volumes of food all at once. So we made one simple change. Instead of 2 large meals and a snack, she began eating 5 smaller meals spread evenly throughout the day. Each meal contained a quality source of protein and healthy fats. Nothing extreme, nothing complicated, just a different schedule. Within 2 months, her energy improved dramatically. The bloating decreased, and she told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I feel like I got 10 years of my life back." Now here's an important detail many seniors don't realize. After age 70, your muscles become less responsive to protein. This process is known as anabolic resistance. In simple terms, your body needs a stronger protein signal than it did when you were younger. That's why many experts recommend making sure every meal contains a meaningful amount of protein rather than saving most of it for dinner. Healthy fats matter too. Foods like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds help support nutrient absorption and overall health. The goal isn't eating more, it's eating smarter. Smaller meals, better timing, more consistent energy. And once you understand that, the next habit becomes even more surprising. Because it involves something millions of seniors do every single day without ever questioning it. Number 6, taking long, hot showers every day. At first, that probably sounds harmless, maybe even relaxing. But once you understand what happens to the skin and circulation after age 65, You'll never look at your morning shower the same way again. Number 6. Taking long, hot showers every day. I know this one surprises people. Most of us think of a hot shower as something healthy, relaxing, comforting, a simple pleasure. But after age 65, your body responds to hot water differently than it did when you were younger. And understanding that difference can help protect both your skin and your balance. As we age, the skin naturally produces less oil. The protective barrier becomes thinner, moisture retention decreases, and the skin becomes more vulnerable to dryness and irritation. Hot water may feel good in the moment, but prolonged exposure can strip away much of the protective moisture your skin is trying to hold on to. Over time, this contributes to chronic dryness, itching, irritation, and increased sensitivity. Think about how many seniors struggle with dry skin every winter. For many, daily hot showers are part of the reason. But the skin isn't the only concern. The effect on circulation may be even more important. When you stand in very hot water, your blood vessels expand rapidly. This causes blood pressure to drop temporarily. A younger cardiovascular system usually adjusts quickly. An older one often responds more slowly. That's why many seniors experience dizziness, lightheadedness, or unsteadiness after a hot shower. And here's something worth remembering. The bathroom is one of the most common locations for falls among older adults. Wet floors, hard surfaces, reduced balance, and sudden drops in blood pressure can create a dangerous combination. Most people never connect the two. They simply assume they're getting older. But sometimes the issue isn't age, it's the environment. Fortunately, the solution is simple. You don't need to stop showering, you don't need ice-cold water, just make a few adjustments. Use warm water instead of very hot water. Try to keep showers under 8 minutes when possible, and after drying off, apply a moisturizer while your skin is still slightly damp to help lock in hydration. Some people also benefit from ending their shower with a brief period of cooler water. This gentle temperature change may help support circulation and leave you feeling more energized afterward. Small changes, big difference. And speaking of changes that make a difference, the next habit may be one of the most damaging myths in healthy aging, because millions of seniors avoid doing something that could actually help reduce pain, improve balance, and protect their independence. Number 5. Avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. And what the research shows about this may completely change the way you think about exercise after 70. Number 5. Avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. This is one of the most common mistakes I see among adults over 65, and it's completely understandable. If your knees hurt, your hips ache, or your back feels stiff, the natural reaction is to rest. Most people assume movement will make the problem worse. But in many cases, the opposite is true. Your muscles and your joints work as a team. When muscles become weaker, they provide less support for the joints. And when the joints lose that support, everyday movements place more stress on them. That's why weakness often leads to more pain, not less. The real danger comes from a condition called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. After age 70, muscle loss can accelerate significantly if it isn't challenged through regular activity. And this isn't just about looking strong. Muscle is what helps you stand up from a chair, climb stairs, maintain balance, prevent falls, protect your bones, maintain a healthy metabolism. Without it, everyday life becomes harder, little by little, year after year. What makes sarcopenia so dangerous is that it often happens gradually. People don't notice it until they suddenly realize they're struggling with things that used to be easy. Carrying groceries, walking long distances, getting up from the floor, playing with grandchildren. The good news? Frailty is not always a one-way street. Researchers studying adults in their 70 seconds, 80 seconds, and even 90 seconds found that resistance training can produce remarkable improvements in strength, balance, and physical function. In some cases, participants experienced improvements within just a few months. And here's the surprising part. Many reported less joint pain, not more. Because stronger muscles help absorb stress that would otherwise be placed directly on vulnerable joints. The key is starting appropriately. Not heavy weights, not intense workouts, not trying to train like you're 25, just safe, consistent resistance exercises matched to your current ability. And I want to tell you about an 81-year-old man who believed his body was simply falling apart. What happened after he started a simple chair-based resistance program completely changed the way he viewed aging. Let me tell you about Harold. Harold was 81 years old and lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. When he first came to see me, he was convinced his body was simply wearing out. His knees hurt, his balance wasn't what it used to be, and he had gradually stopped doing many of the activities he once enjoyed. At first, he stopped taking long walks. Then he stopped walking around the neighborhood altogether. Eventually, even short distances felt difficult. Like many seniors, Harold assumed this was just a normal part of getting older. But when we looked closer, the problem wasn't simply age. The problem was weakness. Years of avoiding activity because of pain had allowed his muscles to become progressively weaker. And weaker muscles meant less support for his joints. So instead of asking him to join a gym or lift heavy weights, we started small. Very small. A simple chair-based resistance program. Light resistance bands, 20 minutes, twice per week. That was it. No complicated equipment, no intense workouts, just consistent movement. 4 months later, Harold returned for a follow-up appointment. The difference was remarkable. He was walking a mile every morning. His confidence had returned. His balance had improved. And the knee pain that once controlled his life had become much more manageable. What stayed with me most was what he said. I haven't felt this free in 15 years. That's the power of rebuilding strength. Not because it turns back the clock, but because it gives your body the support it needs to keep doing the things that matter. And there's another important piece many people overlook. What you eat after resistance training matters almost as much as the training itself. After exercise, your muscles become especially receptive to protein. This is one reason many experts recommend consuming a protein-rich meal within the hour following resistance exercise. It's a simple way to support muscle repair and growth. And after age 70, every advantage matters. Now let's move to number 4, because the next habit affects something many seniors depend on every single day: their vision. Number 4. Relying entirely on reading glasses and never challenging your eyes. Most people assume that once reading glasses become necessary, vision decline simply continues from there. But what researchers have discovered about the aging visual system may surprise you. Number 4. Relying entirely on reading glasses and never challenging your eyes. Most people assume that once they need reading glasses, the story is over. The prescription gets stronger, the lenses get thicker, and vision gradually declines year after year. But the reality is more complicated, because vision is not just about the eyes. It's also about the muscles controlling the eyes and the brain processing what those eyes see. As we age, the lens inside the eye becomes less flexible. The muscles responsible for focusing weaken. This condition is known as presbyopia, the natural age-related loss of near vision. For most people, reading glasses solve the problem, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with using them. But many seniors make a mistake. They stop challenging their visual system altogether. Think about what happens when a muscle is never used. It becomes weaker. While reading glasses don't cause vision decline, relying on them exclusively while never engaging the eyes in different focusing tasks may accelerate dependence on them. Researchers studying visual training have found that simple near and far focusing exercises may help maintain visual function and improve reading efficiency in some older adults. These exercises aren't complicated. For example, look at an object across the room for several seconds. Then shift your focus to something close. Repeat the process slowly for a few minutes. This encourages the focusing system to stay active. Will it eliminate the need for glasses? No. But it may help preserve visual flexibility over time. And the benefits extend beyond reading. After age 70, another change begins to occur. Your ability to distinguish objects from their background, especially in low light, starts to decline. This is called reduced contrast sensitivity. It's one reason many seniors have difficulty seeing steps, curbs, or obstacles in dim lighting, and it's one reason falls become more common. The solution isn't just better glasses, it's also better lighting, brighter hallways, well-lit bathrooms, motion sensor lights for nighttime trips through the house. These simple changes can dramatically improve safety. Nutrition matters too. The eyes depend on nutrients such as vitamin A, zinc, lutein, and zeaxanthin to support healthy function. Foods like spinach, kale, eggs, and colorful vegetables provide many of these compounds naturally. The goal isn't perfect vision. The goal is preserving as much function as possible for as long as possible. And speaking of preserving function, the next habit affects something even more important than your eyesight, your brain. Number 3, sleeping more than 9 hours a night or relying on sleep aids regularly. And what researchers have discovered about sleep and cognitive decline may surprise you. Number 3. Sleeping more than 9 hours a night or relying on sleep aids regularly. This one surprises a lot of people. Because we've spent years hearing the same message: sleep is healing. And that's true. Quality sleep is one of the most important pillars of healthy aging. But the relationship between sleep and long-term brain health is more complicated than most people realize. Researchers following thousands of older adults discovered something unexpected. Seniors who regularly slept more than 9 hours per night were more likely to experience cognitive decline than those who consistently slept between 7 and 8 hours. That doesn't mean sleep is harmful. It means that excessive sleep is often a warning sign rather than a solution. Many people who spend 9 or 10 hours in bed aren't getting better sleep. They're getting poorer sleep. Their sleep becomes fragmented. Deep sleep decreases. REM sleep becomes less consistent. And they wake up feeling tired despite spending more time in bed. The real issue isn't quantity, it's quality. And this becomes especially important because your brain performs one of its most important maintenance functions while you're asleep. Scientists call it the glymphatic system. Think of it as your brain's overnight cleaning crew. While you sleep, this system helps remove metabolic waste products that accumulate throughout the day, including proteins that researchers have linked to neurodegenerative diseases. But this cleanup process works most efficiently during deep sleep, not during long periods of light, fragmented sleep. In other words, 10 hours of poor sleep may be less beneficial than 7 hours of high-quality sleep. And then there's another issue many seniors never consider: sleep medications, particularly over-the-counter products marketed as sleep aids. Many of these medications were never designed for long-term nightly use, yet millions of older adults take them regularly, night after night, month after month, year after year. I once worked with a woman named Dorothy. She was 78 years old and had been sleeping nearly 10 hours every night, yet she still woke up exhausted. She felt mentally foggy, her concentration was slipping, and she assumed it was simply part of getting older. What happened when we finally addressed the real cause completely changed her outlook, and it may change the way you think about sleep as well. Let me tell you what happened with Dorothy. For years, she believed her exhaustion was simply part of aging. She slept almost 10 hours every night. She rarely missed a night of sleep. Yet every morning she woke up feeling tired. By afternoon, her energy was gone, and she often struggled to concentrate on simple tasks. When we looked closer, we discovered that the problem wasn't a lack of sleep. It was poor quality sleep combined with long-term dependence on a common sleep aid. So we made a few changes. We gradually reduced the medication under medical supervision. We established a consistent sleep schedule, the same bedtime, the same wake-up time, every day. We improved her sleep environment and focused on habits that supported natural sleep rather than forcing it. 4 months later, the difference was remarkable. Her energy improved, her mental clarity improved, and the brain fog she had been living with for years finally began to lift. The lesson is simple. Don't chase more sleep, chase better sleep. For most seniors, that means going to bed at the same time each night, waking at the same time each morning, keeping the bedroom cool and dark, avoiding screens before bed, limiting dependence on sleep medications whenever possible. Now let's move to number 2, because this may be one of the most overlooked health risks facing older adults today. And the reason it's so dangerous is because most people never feel it happening. Number 2, drinking less water because you feel less thirsty. Here's what many seniors don't realize. As we age, the brain becomes less sensitive to thirst signals. In other words, your body may need water long before your brain tells you to drink it. By age 70 and beyond, many adults can become mildly dehydrated without experiencing obvious thirst. And that's where the problem begins. Because mild dehydration doesn't always announce itself dramatically. It often appears as fatigue, brain fog, poor concentration, headaches, constipation, dizziness, increased confusion. Many people assume these symptoms are simply part of getting older, but in some cases, they're actually signs that the body isn't getting enough fluid. Researchers have found that a surprisingly large percentage of older adults live in a state of chronic mild dehydration, and many have absolutely no idea. What makes this especially concerning is that even small reductions in hydration can affect memory, reaction time, and mental performance. Your brain depends on water. Your joints depend on water. Your eyes depend on water. Even the discs between your vertebrae rely on proper hydration to function normally. And after age 75, the kidneys become less efficient at conserving water, making hydration even more important. The good news? The solution is simple. Drink consistently throughout the day. Don't wait until you're thirsty. Keep water visible. Keep it nearby. And make hydration a habit rather than a response to thirst. Because the next habit on this list is the one I promised at the very beginning. The habit millions of seniors perform every single morning without realizing what it may be doing to their health. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your morning routine the same way again. And now we've reached number 1, the habit I mentioned at the very beginning, the one millions of seniors do every single morning without even thinking about it. Number 1, sitting down immediately after waking up. I know, that probably isn't what you expected. Most people assume the morning routine starts with sitting, a cup of coffee, the morning news, breakfast at the table, a favorite chair. And after decades of doing it the same way, it feels completely normal. But what happens inside the body during the first hour after waking is anything but ordinary. The moment you wake up, your body begins something called the cortisol awakening response. Cortisol often gets a bad reputation because it's known as a stress hormone, but in the morning, cortisol serves an important purpose. It's your body's natural wake-up signal. Within the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol levels rise dramatically. This surge helps prepare your muscles, your brain, your cardiovascular system, and your metabolism for the day ahead. Think of it as your body's built-in ignition system. The problem is that many people immediately sit down and remain sedentary during this window. Coffee, television, scrolling on a phone, reading the news. And while none of those activities are harmful on their own, spending the entire first hour sitting may cause you to miss one of the most important movement opportunities of the day. Researchers studying adults over 65 found that those who remained largely sedentary during the first hour after waking were more likely to experience metabolic problems, cardiovascular issues, and cognitive decline over time, compared with those who incorporated movement early in the day. And here's why that matters. Morning movement helps your body take advantage of the biological signals already occurring naturally. It helps loosen stiff joints, increase circulation, activate muscles, and transition the body from sleep mode into activity mode. The good news? We're not talking about intense exercise, not running, not lifting heavy weights, not exhausting yourself. In fact, the research suggests that even gentle movement can make a meaningful difference. A short walk, light stretching, simple standing exercises, just enough movement to wake the body the way it was designed to wake. And the story of a 77-year-old man named Robert demonstrates exactly how powerful this simple change can be.